In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, if you're playing a character that doesn't have good landing options, it can feel next to impossible to get back to the ground. With characters who have disjointed aerials that reach through platforms with little to no end lag, you gotta mix up your options. So in this short video, I will be going over how to perform this relatively simple tech, which I have deemed the Ledge Slip Tech Cancel. Before I get into any of this, I want to start off by saying that I will be using some relatively complex terms. If you're not familiar with the specifics of knockback, or velocity, or air drift, or tumble, if any of those words are unfamiliar to you, I recommend that you hit up the Smash Wiki for all those definitions. If you're familiar with all those terms and you are a true gamer, let's just jump right into it. Around the middle of last year, I was practicing against a level 9 Lucina when I noticed her do this directional air dodge into a platform and almost immediately cancel the tech animation and double jump into a neutral B, Shield Breaker. After doing some research in training mode, I eventually discovered that she was canceling her neutral tech animation to slip off the ledge. So what this means is you can actually use directional air dodge to get the velocity and the momentum that you need to slip off the ledge. But in order to actually slide off, you must have your left stick back to neutral by the time that you touch the ground. Now, in order to consistently pull off this edge cancel, there are certain criteria that must be in effect. You must have fully exited hit stun, and you must be in your tumble state. In these clips you can see there's actually a variety of ways and a variety of drift options that allow you to actually pull off this edge slip. And that is primarily because when you do directional air dodge in this game, there's a slingshot effect that actually pulls you backwards for a couple frames in the opposite direction that you're choosing to air dodge. So you don't necessarily need to be drifting the direction that you want the momentum to be going in. From my testing, it seems the characters with higher airspeed and higher air acceleration are both able to pull this off more consistently, and both able to set up the spacing required to actually get the slip effect. However, it seems that characters who reach a faster fall speed, so heavyweights and fast fallers, are actually able to capitalize on the distance traveled and the distance that you slide with the directional air dodge before the neutral tech. So essentially what this means is that floaty characters, specifically floaty characters with high traction, they have a narrower distance that they can pull off this tech, while some heavyweights and some fast fallers can actually pull it off from a greater horizontal distance. But most of the time, floaty characters have a greater window and greater control, which makes the tech easier to pull off in general. It is worth mentioning here that there are some characters, specifically Jigglypuff, that have a high enough horizontal airspeed that they're actually able to pull off this slip tech by just reaching that max speed and doing a neutral air dodge into a neutral tech close enough to the ground. But for almost every other character, they will have to use that directional air dodge in order to reach the minimum velocity in order to slip off the stage or off the corner of a platform. From my testing, it doesn't seem that the direction you're facing specifically impedes the ability to slip off the ledge. I've been able to slip off facing towards ledge and facing with my back to ledge, but the timing and the distance is variable depending on the knockback and the velocity of your drift. So there is a fair amount of timing that goes into it, and you always want to try and get the lowest horizontal angle that's still angled down as close to the stage or as close to the platform as possible. Alright, so you've gone into training mode, you figured out the timing for your character, you figured out roughly how fast and how far you can drift during tumble with said character, and you want to know when this is a good option to use and when it's not. Most of the time, if you've ever pulled this off on accident, or if you've ever seen a pro player pull it off on stream, it's because they're buffering a ground tech, but they come out of hit stun just a little bit before they hit the ground. During horizontal knockback that keeps you low to the ground, this usually occurs if you were to DI up and in, granting you just enough airtime to input this directional air dodge. Much of the time, this coincides with the velocity of the knockback and makes the edge slip that much easier. This means that you could even potentially do a neutral air dodge out of tumble into a neutral tech and end up edge slipping. I don't often recommend going for this style of edge slip because it is risky, especially against moves that have low knockback angles like a lot of F tilts and down tilts. You just don't want to be put in a situation where you're either going to be forced into a tech chase or you air dodge off stage. If you mistime it or you don't account for the exact moment that you're going to be coming out of hit stun, there's a good chance that you'll end up directional air dodging off stage and giving up complete stage control to your opponent. Now, the two situations where I would recommend mixing this in once in a while as a quick reversal tool or a quick way to get out of disadvantage are specifically when you're being juggled and you're already out of double jumps already. You can go ahead and try and implement Gimmer's legendary Phantom Footstool tech. I see a lot of people in this scenario, when they've burnt their options and they're still being juggled, opt to try and break tumble with an aerial or try to fast fall air dodge. But the important thing to remember is that you can only break tumble with double jump or an aerial. You can't break tumble with a Phantom Footstool. And you can't fast fall if you're still in tumble. Most characters' safest option in this game to get back to ground through a character who's juggling or anti-airing them is to get out of tumble and then fast fall into neutral air dodge. The low recovery frames on neutral air dodge make it incredibly safe, and only characters with moves that either are multi-hit or have a lingering hitbox can cover neutral air dodge. In this scenario, I recommend trying to edge slip on the highest platform if you have the opportunity on either Town and City or Battlefield. This means you'll be able to act immediately and you avoid still having your edge slip covered by one of those lingering options. The final way that I would love to see this tech implemented into the future is normally if a character is knocked kind of at a horizontal or a Sakurai style 45-degree angle away at mid to mid-high percents, and all of a sudden you see your opponent is rushing in to try and close the gap, to try and force you to pick a double jump option or force you off stage into the drop zone where you're inevitably threatened. In this situation, some of the clips that I posted above can quickly reversal the opponent and just surprise them when they think they're an advantage. The element of surprise when canceling this off the side of the stage is probably the strongest and most valuable aspect of this tech. It's important to keep in mind that if you choose to double jump immediately after canceling, after edge slipping, there's a standard rock, paper, scissors scenario that ensues. The downside is that you will have burned double jumps, so if you lose that rock, paper, scissors game, you'll be off stage with no jump. Obviously, if you choose to instantly double jump and throw out a fast command grab like some of the clips shown above, you'll beat out anyone who dashes into shield. If you throw out a fast option or an option with armor like some of the other options shown above, those will beat out most attacks, but the element of surprise is the most important. If you don't have a character with either of those types of options, you can still always use the edge slip off stage and grab ledge. It is incredibly important to keep in mind, though, that your ledge invincibility will be very short, especially if you're at high percent. I will be covering this in a future video regarding how to get out of disadvantage state and win conditions for certain types of characters, but it's just important for the sake of this tech to remember if you edge slip and grab ledge that your iframes will be very low. Ledge slip tech canceling is incredibly situational. It's the kind of tech that you only want to throw out if you're confident that you'll be able to get it consistently and that the risk is worth the reward. I hope I did a good job in this guide explaining exactly how to perform it, the differences in when it should be used and how it can be used by different characters, and more than anything, just that it exists and that it can be thrown in as a different option every once in a while. Feel free to leave a comment and let me know if this is not possible with your character. I have not tested it on every character in the game, but I have a strong feeling that given the correct parameters, the correct drift speed, and the correct angle, almost every character in this game will be able to pull this off in one way or another. I hope for this video to be the first in a series of videos concerning tips, tricks, and general metagame and playstyle analysis. So if you feel inclined, share this video around. Subscribe if you'd like, and follow me on Twitter at LGSweetsTweets if you have any comments about how the tech actually operates, and share any discoveries that you might have made. That'd be awesome too. Alright, Thanks for watching.